Joining us now is Byron Browne, an award-winning personal injury lawyer from the Browne Law Group, famously described as the anti-lawyer for his down-to-earth approach. So, Byron, this situation right now, we've seen it really been escalated in the media. We've finally seen a lot of different videos come out, a lot of people kind of putting their input into this. So just your initial response to what you've seen so far.
It's a modern-day lynching. I mean, it's really disturbing. It's really sad. It's hard to believe that this stuff is still happening in America. I think that we're better as a community. But at the end of the day, it's just very sad and very disappointing.
And from a prosecutorial standpoint, is this as clear-cut, as easy as of a case as a lot of people are saying that it should be, or are there going to be some hurdles for the prosecution?
I mean, there's always hurdles in any legal case, so I don't think it's as a slam dunk as a case as some people might believe, but I think it's as strong as a case as the prosecution want to see. I mean, you have a video of, this young man running towards a truck, trying to avoid it, and then them shooting him. I mean, it's as clear as it to me that it's a modern day lynching, and those guys are getting what they deserve, and that's getting arrested and hopefully found guilty.
Yeah, and I hear a lot of people, too, bringing up the idea that, well, he ran around the car, ran towards the man. But I'll say this. If I'm on a jog and a truck pulls up in front of me with two armed men, I don't know how I'm reacting. I mean, that's a scary situation. But a lot of people mentioning that, for example, you look back at previous type of similar situations. The Trayvon Martin one is a lot of what a lot of people are comparing it to, saying perhaps it's a stand your ground type of situation. Is there a valid defense to be used?
I don't think there is a valid defense to be used. I mean, this guy was doing whatever anyone would do in a normal situation. He was jogging. He saw the truck. He actually tried to avoid the truck. You see the driver on the left side from the vantage point of the video, and he tries to run away and get away. It's not like he knew that these guys were going to shoot him. To blame the victim in this circumstance is ridiculous to me.
Yeah, and I just want to build on some of the different narratives that we may hear in the media from this point forward. A lot of times these things become politicized in a way that they shouldn't be. I mean, we got to look at this case in a vacuum. And a lot of people have already been saying, well, he does have a past record when it comes to maybe burglaries. Or I think there was an incident where he brought a gun to a basketball game or something like that. Does any of that even matter? Or should we be looking at this incident in the time frame that it took place in a vacuum?
We should be looking at it in a vacuum. It doesn't matter whatever happened in the past. Whatever happened in the past does not mean that this young man was guilty of anything right now in the present. So anybody using those narratives, I believe, are trying to blame the victim. And that astonishes me because in this set of circumstances, this young man did nothing wrong.
Yeah, I mean, when you just lay out the time frame, too, I mean, this young man went jogging. And then there was a cooling off period, the way that I see it, too. Even if there was a type of reason to try to make a citizen's arrest, which is what these two men say that they were doing. But there was a cooling off period where the older gentleman was able to call his son, tell him to come over to his house, and then go out looking for this young man who was jogging. I mean, this wasn't a heat of rage or anything like that. I mean, there was you could almost call it premeditated to some degree. And I'm not going to say that they were intending to murder this man or anything like that, but they certainly put themselves in a situation where this whole situation escalated. So to acknowledge the fact that this happened back in February, and it took a lot of pressure, this video, for example, to go viral, for anything to get done, does this speak about a larger issue in our criminal justice system?
I think it does speak to a larger issue in our criminal justice system, and that's that it's flawed. That the original prosecutor on this case had ties that made him, at least from the outside, seem biased towards the guilty parties that shot this young man. And that just speaks to the volume of it that occurs across the country within our police departments and within the government itself as it relates to the attorney generals and the district attorney's offices. People need to pull up their socks and they need to pull up their morals. And in some of these communities, sadly enough, this isn't happening.
And I think it's worth noting, too, that this video that we're looking at, I don't know if you can see it, but the one that's since gone viral, didn't come from a police department. It didn't come from any of those individuals. It was leaked to a local radio personality, and that's the only reason that we're having this conversation today. So I think that also speaks to a larger issue that we need to address at some point. But laying out the timeline now, or what we should expect coming next. Georgia, for example, doesn't have hate crime laws, is something that I was reading earlier before. So that's not what they'll be charged with, but murder, aggravated assault. What does this look like moving forward? They haven't been released on bail. Are they going to be waiting in jail until their court date, and that's when we're going to finally see them next?
Yeah, like if Georgia does anything other than throw the book at these guys, I'd be absolutely surprised. The social pressure on this case is high. I know that they're saying the social pressure had nothing to do with the charges. I think that's a bunch of garbage. And I think they're going to throw the book at these guys. I do not think that you're going to see bail set at a number that these guys are going to be able to pay. I bet bail is going to be set in the multiple millions of dollars to keep these guys locked up. And I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see these guys get locked up. We're going to see a formal press conference where all of the charges will be enunciated by the state. And then I'm assuming at some point you may hear from the defense lawyer, but this will be something that both sides, on the defense and the prosecution, they're going to want to move this towards a resolution, possibly for different reasons, but as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and generally I don't like it when public discourse gets involved in legal situations, but this is one issue where it's been for the better. I mean, for example, the only reason why we have police cameras is because of public pressure that was put on these very issues. It is a testament to the idea that sometimes the public's involvement does prove to be good in the long run. It's a way of the public getting involved in these situations, and I think that this is one of those where people have had enough of these type of circumstances happening in American history, let alone over recent history. But Byron Browne, I really appreciate you coming down, breaking down these legal issues for us. Thank you.